Hello, my name is Andrew Clippert, and I will be presenting digital espionage and hacking and the future it has in war and our society. First, I will give an overview. Digital espionage is a fairly recent development within the last 20 years as we've begun to use computers more and more to hold and store our data. The scale of these operations of digital espionage have been fairly unknown until recently, within the last 5 years. Mostly due to the acts of men like Edward Snowden, who would leak data and show the extent of digital espionage. Snowden was not the first by any means, but revealed the most information and garnered the most attention by the public eye. Digital espionage has existed since the early days of computers. The first known exploit of a vulnerability was in 1965 at a United States university, where a professor discovered that the login password could be fooled by a student, and a student could gain access into professorial records and grades and change them if he wanted to. The 1980s would see an explosion of hacking due to the rise of computer use in the United States, which would then go international in the 1990s as computers became more affordable and more easily attainable in international waters. During the 1980s, there would be groups of hackers known as black hats that would maliciously go to credit card companies and government data agencies and hack their data just for the pure sport. As more data was placed on the internet in the 2000s and even leading into now, hacking increased in complexity and in yield. Hackers would soon be able to take full credit cards, even full bank statements, photos, information, social security numbers, and many secret and private data points. Within the last 5 years, awareness for this topic has finally reached the public eye. All previously known large data stealing hacks were done by private groups or foreign nations. None were reported done by our own government. These attacks also garnered little coverage in the news media and lacked attention from the public, for they thought it was not a big deal and would not happen to them. Until a man named Julian Assange in 2012 unveiled an FBI military files and leaked them to his own personal site, known as WikiLeaks. After Assange, a man would come out to reveal even more data, and this man's name was Edward Snowden. Assange would serve to pique the public's interest in digital espionage, but Snowden would show them that their own government was doing it as well. Snowden worked for many branches of U.S. intelligence, the NSA, CIA, and private contractors for the U.S. government. He leaked that the U.S. government had been covering a wide-scale digital espionage campaign and that was snooping on thousands of gigabytes of data from the public. They would tap into major data centers, credit cards, email, all kinds of things to monitor and see if they could find anything that would be linked to terrorism or anything attacking the nation. But they would overstep their boundaries in as much data as they would save, store, and look through. It would be as if the government would open every piece of mail, look at every file that you had in your house, in your cupboard, and everything on your computer as soon as it would reach in there at any point in time. But it was undetectable and unknown, for it was on the internet and unable to be traced, until Edward Snowden leaked all this information due to his work with the government. Edward Snowden created major fallout in the public eye and in international eyes for the U.S. government. Snowden had to flee the country and take asylum to avoid prosecution by the U.S. government, and the NSA is now under an investigation for drastically overstepping its assumed privacy boundaries. Attention has been called to the lack of protection private data has been given by law and the prevalence of hacking and spying on this data. People now know they're not even safe from their own government at times. For lawmakers have not made many laws protecting private data and protecting personal interests. And moving forward as we continue on throughout the age of information, this form of espionage is here to stay. So we must learn to combat attacks from foreign countries, defend ourselves online, and have oversight on our own endeavors. Laws need to be written and structured to allow this tactic to be monitored and used appropriately. The public also needs to assume a role in keeping an eye on their own data by protecting themselves from this and staying current on digital espionage stories, for we are only in the toddler stages of it, and digital espionage will continue to increase in complexity and secrecy. Thank you.